recording. Okay, so today we're going to be going over how you can start your development branch. Here we can see that I have my personal project. Let's say I just did all of my planning. I now have a solid plan of what I want to do, and I actually want to start coding. But eventually I'm going to want to do something called pull request, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some sort of protection for my main branch, because I want to make sure that the only time that I can push into my main branch is if I have been approved. And that is going to be here under branches. So I go into settings, click on branches, and then I can add a branch protection rule. It's going to ask me, well, what's the branch name pattern? That's just saying what's the name of the branch. So we're going to go with main, and then I'm going to place here require a pull request. And for requiring pull requests for approvals, typically industry standard is that you'll need at least 2 people to approve your pull request before it actually gets merged into anything. But for the purposes of this program, we're going to go with 1 approval to make sure that you guys are able to make some progress, since there's only a couple of us that will be able to approve these requests. All right, and once I have that set, I don't need to worry about the rest. I can just click on create. It's going to ask me to input my password, so I'm going to pause the recording really quick. Okay, so now that I've placed my password in, we can see that it takes me to my branch protection rules. Main branch is protected, and currently it's only applying to 1 branch. Okay, that's great. That's all I need. Now let's actually go ahead and pull this information down. All right. So I'm going to copy this HTTPS link that I have. I'm going to hop over to my terminal, and I'm going to zoom in on this terminal to make sure everyone can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to clone my project. There you go, it was cloned. Well, now I can change directory into my personal project and code. Okay, so now I changed directory into my personal project. We can see that I have the README that I initialized my personal project with. Well, before I start doing anything, I want to start creating branches. So there's a couple of things that I can do here. Well, I can do something like git branch, and then the name of the branch, and that would create a branch. And we'll probably create a shortcut list or a list of git commands that are typically used, and then just send it out to everyone so everyone knows what type of git commands to use. So we could use git branch, and let's say that the first thing I want to do is work on my models, right? So I can name this branch my Django dash, well, let's go with underscore models. Okay, well, now if I run git branch, I can see that I have a main, and we can see this asterisk to the left side. That means that's the branch I'm currently on. And then I have a branch named Django models, but it doesn't have an asterisk. So now in order to get on my Django models branch, well, now I can just say git checkout Django models. Okay, so now I have this Django models. And let's just say that the first thing I want to do is start my Django project, right? So I'm going to go ahead and activate my virtual environment. And then now I could just say Django admin, start project. I don't know. And then I'm just going to name it backend. Okay, so now we can see this backend was created. I have my manage PY. Let's say I also want to create a git ignore. So touch git ignore. And in that git ignore, let's say for now, all I want to do is include my Pi cache. Okay, well, now that I have this information and I start a project, I can go ahead and push it to my Django models branch, right? I can do git branch to make sure I'm in the correct branch. We can see that I'm in Django models. And now I can say git add git commit -m start a project. And everything that you do should be like an action. So your comment should be an action, right? What is this branch going to do? Well, this branch I started my project on this branch, but once it gets merged, it starts a project on my main branch. So you should name it as start a project. So I commit all of my files there. This bar is here in the way. Okay, so everything was committed. And now I can just simply git push. And it's gonna ask me for my origin. Well, in this case, when I go to push, I'm gonna say origin. And instead of placing main, I'll say Django underscore models. All right, so we'll see everything was good, everything was pushed, resolving data. And then now it says it created a pull request for Django models on GitHub. Okay, well, I wonder what that means. Let me go over to GitHub really quick. I'm gonna refresh this. Okay, so GitHub knows that Django models exist now. And if I click on my main branch, now I see main and Django models. And when I click on Django models, that's where all of my updated history lives, right? So now let's say I wanted to merge this branch with main. Well, I would just simply click on this green button up here that says compare and pull request, start project. For this portion on the upper right-hand side that says reviewers, I would click on there and I would add one of my collaborators as a reviewer, right? Which it should be myself or anybody on the staff for review. But for me, it's just Aloof Buddha. So then Aloof Buddha has been added. Then I can add a comment here. So this will start my Django project. Okay. I click on create pull request. And that will start a conversation. Right. Eventually Benjamin will come on here and tell me, hey, this doesn't look right, or maybe you could do this a little bit differently. But once he's done, he's going to approve it. And this portion here will turn green. And this will be a green button saying that I can merge the branch. Now, there is this option where you can still merge without getting a permissions from us. If you do, you can do this if we're taking way too long to approve your branch, just to make sure that you continue pushing forward. But we would prefer if you waited for us to review your pull request, approve it, and then you could merge your pull request. All right, for the time purposes, I'm going to merge it myself. So I go to merge and saying, okay, this is good to merge. Oh, there's a question. Go ahead, Ethan.
Can you stack pull requests?
Yes, you can. Yeah, so
Okay.
let's say this is taking a while to get approved, right? Well, I can always hop on here and just say, well, this is taking forever to get approved, so now I'm just going to create a new branch. And this new branch will be my Django. Let's say I'm still working on a Django, so then I'm done with my models. Now I just want to start my views. So git branch Django views, and then I could check out Django views and start working on my views, right? And then I could start making my pull request and so on. Right, so then as one gets approved, I just have to merge that prior pull request to my main branch, continue my development, and then continue merging to the main branch. Does that answer your question, Ethan?
Yep, that answers it. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so finally I confirm my merge. My merge is happening. And it tells me, hey, your pull request was successful in merging with the branch main. So now if I go back to code, I'm on the main branch now, but everything that lived in Django is also, everything that lived in my Django models branch is also on my main branch. So now since I don't need it, I could come here and just delete the branch. I could go to Django models, say, okay, well, I already finished using you. Everything has been merged. I don't need to know about you anymore. So I'm just going to delete it. Does anyone have any questions?
How long do you have to restore that?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be gone by now.
Oh, okay. I saw the restore button. I'm just wondering. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's while you're still on the page, you can restore it, but the moment you leave, then it's gone forever.
Sister, can you just use one branch for like back end and front end? I feel like, I'm going to mess it up with different branch for like different models.
Yeah, you could definitely start just using one branch. But if you just utilize one branch, just remember that you need to submit multiple pull requests for that branch.
Thank you.
So do we just pick a random person to review our request?
Yes, it could be anybody on the staff. I believe our names were sent out by Bennett. Bennett sent out all of our GitHub names. I know I have a couple of requests that I haven't accepted just yet. But we'll all be accepting all of your requests. And then as soon as you start making pull requests, tag us on it. And please do us a favor, not only set us up as reviewers, but send us a message on Slack that tells us, hey, I'm waiting for your approval, and I've created a merge request so that we're tracking on it. Because as you all know, GitHub isn't the best at giving you notifications when something happens. So as soon as we get that message, we can hop on and approve your branch or give you feedback. If you continue working on a branch you just pushed without creating a new branch, is there an easy way to wipe away any changes? Wipe away any changes. Yeah, so essentially you're still creating a Git history. So you could still get rebase to a prior commit if you wanted to get rid of whatever it is that you did in between a couple of commits, right? Let's say I'm working with my database, I made a mistake in one of my models, and now my database is broken. Well, I don't want to just completely drop everything that I had. Well, I can just get rebase to a prior entry, and then my program would just revert to the version that it was when I created that commit message. Does that answer your question, Tristan?
It does, thank you. You said that was rebase?
Rebase, yes, that's correct. How often should we push after we finish all of the Django, or should it be more frequent? I would think about smaller chunks. So instead of thinking about just Django as all of Django, I would say, well, I'm gonna do my Django models first. Then I'm gonna work on my Django serializers. And then once I'm done with my Django serializers, then I can start working with Django views. And all three of those should be three separate requests. Keep them as small as possible. Obviously, the smaller they are, the faster we can approve them. If you do your entire backend, it's probably going to take me like a day or two to get you an approval. Ethan?
So with the pulling multiple requests, so as you approve them, that's when, we'll still have to go in there and click the merge, but we'll see it like slowly build up in our main branch, right?
Correct. As we approve your main branch, we'll start getting all the changes.
Okay.
You don't actually have to merge from GitHub. Once you get the approval and it says it's been approved, you could simply you could check out your main branch.
And then git pull.
Not get pull, but get merge, and then the name of the branch that you want to merge.
Okay, yeah, that makes it a little bit easier. So we'll just be able to stack them and then slowly see it build up without having to like kind of stop what we're doing with the other stuff.
Yeah, so the whole point of the pull request being able to work the way they work and for all of you to create different branches is to ensure that you never actually stop working. So at no point should you say, oh, well, I've been waiting for this to get approved, and that's the reason why I've stopped developing, because you could always create a new branch and continue developing. Any other questions?
So we should kind of be add a branch, do some work, and then submit the branch. Once it's approved, then delete the branch.
Exactly.
We shouldn't have like a bunch of branches just hanging around.
Well, you should delete the branches that have already been merged, but you can create more and more branches that are pending approval to be merged, right? So I finish my models, I'm pending approval, I start working on my serializers, I make a new branch and start working on my serializers. So once I get that approval, I merge my models branch, delete my models branch, and then I continue working on whatever else I'm working. Does that make sense, Jesse?
Okay, and then some of us that are like in the like I've already started mine. How should I handle that? Should I just make a branch, send it to you for approval, and then like
Yeah.
start from there?
Yeah, that's perfect. If any of you have already started and you've made some considerable progress, submit your progress into a separate branch, make the pull request, and just when you make that pull request in that comment section, let us know like, hey, I already started this, and then give us a quick description of what each portion of your app does. All right, just so that when we hop in there, we can at least get a general idea of what we can look at to give you the best feedback possible. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording now.